Good morning, I'm Gretchen Hall. We're coming to you on this Tuesday, on the 16th of December, bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matters. Get to the stories that matter today. The reception of the BICAM Conference Committee meeting did not push through on Monday after the Senate canceled it. Lawmakers from the lower house insisted they were merely informed and not consulted at all. Monday's talks on the 2026 national budget were halted amid disputes over road projects and the MAIFIP, according to Senator Ping Lacson. Lacson added that certain lawmakers have allegedly threatened Speaker Boji D and Majority Leader Sandro Marcos over the approval of selected budget items. And the fight continues for Pinoy athletes at the 33rd Southeast Asian Games in Thailand as the country's medal haul climbs. Team Philippines has secured 142 medals so far, with 25 golds, 38 silvers, and 79 bronze medals. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first in the agenda, tensions emerged ahead of the final stretch of the 2026 national budget after the Senate called off the BICAM Conference Committee meeting on Monday. Here is a report.
Just hours before the Bicameral Conference Committee meeting meant to reconcile the proposed 2026 national budget, the Senate abruptly canceled the session on Monday. The House of Representatives says it was merely informed of the cancellation and was not consulted beforehand.
Really, it would have been something that would have been a collective decision, a mutual decision on the part of each leadership. So I don't want to say that I feel slighted. I just want to once again, express to our Senate counterparts that we are here. Our disposition is to move forward with the conversation.
House lawmakers waited for more than 2 hours, but the bicameral meeting did not push through. According to House Appropriations Chair Mika Swansing, time may already be running short. Congress is aiming to ratify the 2026 General Appropriations Bill by December 22, so it can be transmitted to the President for signing into law.
Meron po kasi tayong timeline na gusto pong sundin. Marami pa pong mga ahensya na tatalakayin. Kaya po, bawat araw po talaga ay mahalaga para po matapos natin yung budget sa tamang oras.
Past 6 in the evening, Senator Win Gatchalian arrived at the Philippine International Convention Center. He chairs the Senate Committee on Finance and arrived without any other senators. Gatchalian assured Swansing that the bicameral report would still be approved within the target period.
Hindi na tayo on schedule definitely. But kaya pang ma-approve yung budget by end of the year. Admittedly, hindi na-anticipate. No? Kaya napupush back yung schedules. No? So, but naglagay naman kami ng buffer.
If needed, the Senate says it is prepared to work up to Christmas Eve and even around the clock. For News 5, I'm Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
Senator Ping Lacson said the Bicameral Conference Committee has postponed Monday's deliberations on the 2026 national budget amid disagreements over several contentious provisions, including funding for the DPWH, the MAIFIP program, and the farm-to-market roads. Here is the report.
Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson has outlined the contentious issues that have pushed the bicameral talks on the 2026 national budget into a deadlock. In an interview with Storycon, Lacson said disagreements over funding allocations for the Department of Public Works and Highways, MAIFIP, and farm-to-market roads continue to stall the bicameral discussions.
Tatlo yung contentious issues as far as the Senate is concerned. Una, yung MAIF. Second, yung farm-to-market road. Farm-to-market. And then third, yung balance, yung 54 billion na sinasabing overpriced na kailangan kartasin sa budget. Ang napagkasundo namin, nothing short of, absolutely no guarantee letters from politicians. Sabi ko sa kanila, I can change my mind. And so with the others, na yung mga like-minded na kasama ko sa majority block ng Senate, ganun din ang kanilang sentiment. Kasi nga naabuso.
Lacson warned that failure by the Senate and the House of Representatives to reach a compromise could result in a reenacted budget next year.
Pagka hindi nagkasundo, baka mauwi tayo sa reenacted budget. Dapat magkasundo na kagad para magkaroon na ng BICAM report. At kami sa Senado, ang call ng aming leadership sa Senado, hindi yung BICAM report ang aming iraratify. mismong enrolled bill. Nakapanood na yung, hindi yung summary lang ng bicameral conference committee report, kundi mismong detalyado, yun na yung mismong enrolled bill.
Meanwhile, Lacson called the move to invite DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon to attend the bicameral budget hearings unprecedented.
Ito nga isang problema pa. Bakit nag-imbita sila ng department secretary sa BICAM? Unprecedented yan kasi parang bumalik kami sa committee hearing. Mali kasi ang nag-uusap na lang dyan, House panel at saka Senate panel. Dahil sumulat daw si Secretary Vince Dizon na pagbigyan nila na magpaliwanag. And nag-backslide tayo sa committee hearing.
Despite the impasse, Lacson said both chambers are still working to find a way forward and break the deadlock. The senator also revealed that some lawmakers have allegedly threatened the leadership of House Speaker Boji D and Majority Leader Sandro Marcos if certain budget priorities are not approved.
Pati si Speaker Boji, pati si Majority Leader Sandro Marcos, medyo hirap. May threat pa sa kanilang leadership. Ito yung nasagap ko Pag hindi nyo pinagbigyan yung mga individual namin, magkakasubukan tayo.
The Independent Commission for Infrastructure has wrapped up its hearings for the year. In its final session for 2025, the Commission called on AGA Party List Congressman Nicanor Briones and Budget Acting Secretary Rolando Toledo. Briones, who requested an executive session, said his name and integrity had been unfairly tarnished by what he described as baseless and unfounded accusations against him.
Sa allegation ay Congressman Briones took this opportunity para po clear ang kanyang pangalan at to deny all the unfair and unfounded accusation against him by the spouses Diskaya. Nasabi naman po niya lahat na siya ay walang kinalaman at wala siyang alam sa lahat ng mga naging aligasyon laban sa kanya.
Meanwhile, the palace was pressed on the president's pronouncement that several individuals linked to the flood control scandal could face jail time before Christmas.
Abangan na lang po natin dahil ito naman din po ay sa ating pagkakaalam ay talagang tinatrabaho rin po at pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng DOJ pati na po ng Ombudsman.
DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon conducted an inspection in Bulacan that's said to be the ground zero of the alleged ghost flood control projects. Dizon visited the Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office where hundreds of millions of pesos were allegedly divided among former officials. Calling the site symbolic, the Public Works Chief said the inspection marks the start of reforms in a district at the center of one of the biggest infrastructure scandals. Dizon also introduced new district officials tasked to replace engineers facing multiple complaints linked to anomalous flood control projects.
Our people in Bulacan need solutions. Yes, they want accountability, but they also need solutions because they are suffering every day for practically 6 months in a year because they're always flooded here.
Don't go away. We got more matters to discuss after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning, Impression On here on Morning Matters. We talk about the most pressing issues and give you the context behind headlines. Project NOAA is set to receive a billion peso budget next year after the Bicameral Conference Committee approved its allocation under the 2026 General Appropriations Bill. The funding boost aims to strengthen flood control planning, with lawmakers saying Project NOAA should work closely with the DPWH to improve design and monitoring of flood control projects. The program under the UP Resilience Institute is known for producing hazard maps and flood simulations used by local governments for disaster preparedness. The billion peso allocation was sourced from funds earlier cut from the DPWH budget. To tell us more about their plans for this budget, we have Dr. Mar Lagmay, Executive Director of Project NOAA, joining us on Morning Matters today. Welcome back to the program.
Hello, good morning. It's Gretchen.
Okay, Doc, unang-una, no,
Yes.
I know there is an impasse over at the House of Representatives. So what's keeping you up awake at night? Is it the danger of having a reenacted budget and this 1 billion budget being slashed altogether? Or naiisip mo na ba anong gagawin mo dun sa ganong kalaking budget?
I don't know. I leave it up to Congress to decide on that. But whatever happens, we will still continue with our work on helping the Filipino people. Our plans are just to, provide solutions, science-based and nature-based solutions to our flood resilience efforts.
We do know that this project started back in 2012. And NOAA actually stands for Nationwide Operational Assessment of Hazards. We do know it more popularly for its hazard maps. But can you remind us, back in 2012 when this was formed, what was the big vision for Project NOAA under the DOST?
Yeah, the instruction was to make a responsive program for disaster risk reduction. And we thought of compiling or collecting all of the funded research projects related to DRR and put it into operation. That means it's active research, the kind that is used during emergency operations or during times of crisis, wherein you fund research and make sure that it is used right away, rather than just being published in journals and being put into books that gather dust in the shelf. So we learn at the same time while doing the operations research, because we are embedded in government effort. And when we do that, we learn more. We actually try to learn the lessons from each and every disaster, because when we do that, we don't repeat the same mistakes, and that saves a lot of lives. And we use the best technologies when we gather it from conferences from all over the world, the best practices in disaster risk reduction, and apply it to our country's efforts to save lives and mitigate the effects of disasters.
Okay. Pag sinabi nating Project NOAA, it is mainly a research body focused on gathering data. Tama ba? That is relevant to disaster response.
The fact that the reason why it's called Nationwide Operations Assessment, Operation Assessment of Hazards is because we are doing operational research. And when we have new products, frontier science, and new technologies, we apply them right away because we are embedded with the efforts of government. We are able to test them right away. We are able to calibrate. We are able to learn. And if they work as they did in the past, we use them. The idea is to use them and apply it so that we can reduce the risk in future disasters.
And can you help us recall why again was it defunded in 2017?
Oh, that was a long time ago, Gretchen. I'd like to move forward.
From that heartbreak.
Yeah, let's not dwell on the past. There's a lot of things that we need to be concerned with.
Correct.
To work together, collaborate, so that we can do so much. We can do more for the country.
Naalala ko kasi noon, no, parang there was the reaction to that, no, was one of shock, because as a disaster-prone country, to see this project lose its funds. No? But what does this 1 billion peso allocation now mean for Project NOAA's work?
Yeah, I'd just like to emphasize na ang disaster walang kulay, no? It has no color because disasters impacts everybody. The rich, the poor, everybody, the middle class, nobody is exempted from the harsh impacts of climate change and the harsh impacts of natural hazards. What we intend to do is to may garble. May garble. But anyway, what we intend to do is to help with the efforts of government, particularly yung kontrabaha. Yesterday, we met at the First District Office of Bulacan. There was this photo that's very famous wherein they laid down the hundreds of millions of pesos for distribution. And we met on that very same table. It's very symbolic because what we will put there now is not money, but rather science-based and nature-based solutions. So that's what we want to offer using Project NOAA and the entire University of the Philippines system in collaboration with all state universities and colleges, higher education institutions, because we believe that it's not enough to use science just to identify the hazards. We have to use science to identify, with the best possible science, the interventions, the scientific interventions once we identify the problems. And these interventions cut across all sectors, remember. We have to find science-based solutions to address the flood problem with regard to agriculture, to forestry, to tourism, to infrastructure, to energy, and so on. So it has to cut across all sectors so that when we embed it into the plans of the local government unit, they are science-based and risk-informed. And that is the best way for the local government unit to develop so that we can attain sustainable development goals. Imagine if we are able to plan well all of the LGUs with all the right science coming from research outputs. The best 634 cities and municipalities to attain the sustainable development goals.
I know you've been working on ito nga yung flood control with different cities. Kasama na dyan yung Quezon City. Let's start with that, no. What has worked for you with that coordination and partnership? Ano yung pinagawa sa inyo doon? And ano yung magiging role ngayon ng Project NOAA?
It's still
pagdating sa flood
ongoing.
control.
We still keep on helping the local government units. One new research output that we have been working with Quezon City is the dengue threshold. There are many deaths attributed to dengue. And we found out that there's a relationship between the amount of rainfall that happens that triggers dengue outbreaks. So just with that science, we may be able to, declare an outbreak and make some kind of intervention weeks in advance so that unnecessary deaths will be prevented. That's one. Right now, I'm on my way to Valenzuela to inaugurate the catchment basin that they have. So that's going to be one of the very first solutions that we can suggest, that we have suggested to be able to address our flood problems. Because it's not just dikes that we need to build. We have to have more solutions, more interventions, like, for example, detention basins, parks that with a lot of grass and trees that absorb water. We can plant trees in the mountains, because in our study, in one watershed, if we were dealing with 11 million cubic meters, just planting trees to reforest the mountains, that will reduce the amount of water by 1 million cubic meters, just by restoring it to the year 1990. Add to that other interventions, like, for example, some kind of riparian zones, planting bamboos, planting trees in urban areas, bioswales, and so on. We identify, or we exhaust all possibilities. And then we find the residual risk, what we call as residual risk, yung hindi na kaya. That's when you build the dikes. So that's what we can offer to the efforts of government. And it started yesterday with the Bulacan meeting. Next year, we will be doing that, doing a lot of other kinds of interventions along with the PWH and hopefully DNR, because that's their mandate. And we would like to invite everybody to help out so that there's this ownership in solving the problem. Because it's a problem of everybody, not just the government.
That's correct. Are you looking to doing more of this kind of work na mas personalized style of servicing local governments? Because there are different topographies and needs per locality. So, ganun ba ang direksyon nitong Project NOAA? And with that, how are you looking to scale the whole group? Will you still be under the UP Resilience Institute with this new funding?
Yeah, of course, yes. We want to remain with the University of the Philippines because there's a lot of expertise in the university. We have several constituent units and more than 20 campuses all over the Philippines. And we are the national university. And we can co-create knowledge with state universities and colleges. We can capacitate. And all of these SUCs, when they're capacitated, we want to be able to help them also try to get funds from the local government unit so that they can do their research, and their research outputs will be embedded into the local government plans. That's the basic idea, because we keep on saying science-based and whole-of-society approach, where you use the science to identify the floods. You must be able to have local research to address the problems specific to that community. I think it's the way to go, because if we are to use science, that's the best bet that we have to solve our.
And with that 1 billion budget, how are you looking to spread the resources? Did you lobby for that 1 billion, that specific amount? It seems to be a huge amount, although kung titingnan mo, kung 2017 pa, pag spread mo, medyo delayed na ito, ano? Pero ano ang balak nyong gawin? How will you spread the resources for that?
Yeah, but it's never too late, because disasters will be happening again and again, and it may become even worse because of climate change. So it's never too late. Yeah. So what we want to do is to be able to help out. We've been making that call for the longest time, and this time around, it was Congress who called us and asked us how much we needed to be able to help government. And we gave a list of what we want to do. It's like, what do you call it? A dream come true. So we were able to list everything that we wanted to do, and they funded it. So let's see what will happen. We've been doing this for more than 10 years, mapping the country using probabilistic multi-scenario hazard maps, which is required by law, by the way, since 2018. Year after year, it's a provision in the GAA. So we're going to do that for the entire country, and at the same time address the concerns of DPWH, what help they need, and be able to help also the the Oplan Kontrabaha program of government.
So in terms of prioritization, ito pong flood control would take the number one spot, and the hazards. Go ahead.
The flood. Of course, it's flood control. That's primary. We have to be able to do that. Of course, we have been doing other things as well. Remember, Gretchen, we have been working with international organizations like the United Nations International Office of Migration And we have been helping other countries already. We have been working with the ASEAN region, Philippines. Just a minute. Don't move. Don't move first. We have been working with region, working on displacement of people affected by disasters. We have been working with Vanuatu, with Fiji, and because of the work that we have been doing, it has been seen by the international community. Some other Pacific Island countries are very, very much interested, but currently we have been working with Indonesia, with Bangkok, with Thailand, Fiji, and Vanuatu. So that's the priority. We have to commit because we have committed already to the work that we have started. But now that we have this 1 billion peso project, of course, we will expand to be able to address all of the requirements needed by the country.
Okay. I know it's been many years, no, since since what happened, the funding of this project. And I do understand na, syempre, meron din po kayo mga frustrations when disasters come. And so, what are the blind spots that you think that can be addressed with this injection of funding? And as we do know, pagdating sa datos, it can only be useful if the data is understandable, comprehensible, and actionable by the common Filipino and the common responder. And how do you hope to make that happen? Na maintindihan ng mga Pilipino yung datos na lumalabas mula sa Project NOAA.
Yes, two things. First, we'll get science to do its work. Science means we have to open up the data set so that people can replicate the work that we do. We want to publish so that it's reviewed by peers in the international community. And we also want to use the arts and the humanities, because science, if it is not embraced by the people, is meaningless. So we want to create movies, we want to compose music that will be sung by children so that they learn it in a enjoyable way. And be creative in our work in trying to communicate the important lessons, the important information that Filipinos need to know. So it's not just about science, it's about communication as well, using all possibilities, the arts and the humanities, understanding the mindset of the Filipino people. We need psychologists, sociologists, anthropologists, everything, everybody that we can recruit so that we will be able to bring the information down so that science can be more effective.
Hindi naman ho kayo magkakaroon ng overlap ng DOST in terms of mandate?
Ang tingin ko wala namang problema doon. Remember, we had 475 billion allotted for flood control, which was canceled, right, for 2026. There's no scarcity problem in terms of funding. Everybody had the chance to request for their budget during Congress, and we can always collaborate. There's always innovation that should be welcome all the time, because innovation is very important, because we cannot just keep on doing the things that have failed. So with innovation and with new information, with new science, thinking out of the box, employing a lot of other methods, like using more the arts and the humanities to communicate the science, I think that will help, and I don't see any problem with that. I think it's all about collaboration, cooperation, and building things to be better, to become better for the Filipino people.
Well, Doc Mahar, we're happy that finally your organization has gotten the much-needed funding. Naramdam na ramdam po namin yung inyong saya, parang pagka may proyekto tapos nabigyan ng budget, may budget na tayo, ganon po ang saya po ninyo, nararamdaman po namin. And we look forward to the developments under Project NOAA. May you continue to arm our frontliners with the data and science they need to respond proactively to disaster. Okay.
Yes, Gretchen. Yes, Gretchen. With that 1 billion, I assure everybody that we will work with urgency, discipline, and full accountability so that every centavo of that 1 billion pesos will be put to good use.
Well, we still have a disaster to deal with in front of us, and that is the Bicameral Conference Committee. Once it hurdles that, tuloy-tuloy na po ang saya na ito. Maraming salamat po, Doc Mahar Lagmay, Executive Director of Project NOAA, for spending time with us this morning. And coming right up, PLDT Enterprise introduces Smart Safe, marking the arrival of the country's first telco-enabled fraud management API suite. And we'll talk about this with Blum Spineda, Senior Vice President and Head of the Enterprise Business Group at Smart. When Morning Matters returns, keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. PLDT Enterprise, together with GSMA and key Philippine regulators, has unveiled Smart Safe, the country's first telco-enabled fraud management API suite. Developed in line with national regulatory standards, the platform aims to deliver safer, simpler, and more trusted digital experiences for businesses and end users. At the core of the suite is Silent Access, a flagship solution that authenticates users in real time across Smart's nationwide network without relying on SMS-based OTPs. This provides a faster, more secure way for businesses and customers to log in and transact online. SmartSafe also includes net identity for device verification, geo-check for real-time network location, roam status for roaming checks, and KYC Plus for enhanced identity verification. To tell us more about SmartSafe, we are joined by Blum Spineda, Senior Vice President and Head of the Enterprise Business Group at Smart. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Matters.
Thank you, Gretchen. Thanks for having us.
Okay, first of all, I want to talk about this topic in a way that the normal person can understand, a normal consumer, because we do use digital pervades our lives nowadays with online shopping, with digital banking. We're always on our phones, right? So, importante na maintindihan ito, no? Una-una, no, what is SmartSafe?
Yes. So SmartSafe basically is a technology that we're offering to provide to app makers out there. So whether it be your favorite online banking app or a Grab or even on social media like TikTok. But basically we offer it so that that app provider, the user of that app can authenticate more to our network. We can prove that you are who you say you are in a more seamless manner with a better user experience. Because right now it's quite complicated. You have to get OTPs. It can get intercepted. Sometimes the SMS or the OTP maybe is delayed in coming to you.
So could this get rid of OTP usage?
Yes. Yes. So for example, what will happen is that instead of you requiring an OTP to be sent to you, it'll pick up things that your phone and the network that you're on, they interact. So for example, I can probably say that if, for example, you've had your SIM in a phone for the last 2 years.
You can detect that.
We can detect that. We know that, right? Because it's always your device and the SIM latched onto our network. So we probably say, if you're trying to log on to Grab, let's say, this is probably Gretchen, right? So we don't need to send you an OTP even though the app is sort of requesting for one. We'll just in the background say that this is very likely Gretchen. It's the same SIM in the same phone, right? And therefore, that becomes a much more seamless experience for you.
Pero kailangan din ng Face ID scan yun.
So it will still work with, for example, the Face ID. But diba, sometimes, even with the Face ID, it will ask every so often for your OTP.
Yeah.
To re-log on, right? So that will replace that and make it a bit more seamless.
What kind of data does it need to be able to back that kind of security up?
So it happens in the background. You really don't need to do it, but it picks up on certain things. For example, like so for example, right now with your phone, it can detect that you're in the Philippines, right? So, for example, if we were getting a credit card use from a location abroad,
Yes.
but you're here, it can flag things like that.
Okay.
Right? So that's part of the
Automatic
things.
na yun.
Automatic. Because of just the nature of your phone always interacting with our network when it's on. Right? And it can also detect things like, hey, it's been, a year and 17 months, Gretchen hasn't upgraded to the iPhone 17 yet, so you're still on, sort of the previous phone. But like you've never taken out that SIM, right? It's probably your device. We see you
that
using
data is within my phone.
It's within your phone
Kapag
and the
hindi ko
network.
tinatanggal.
Yes, yeah, and we pick that up. Like for example, we basically the way that you can log on to in our case a smart network, it can pick up that this number is registered to you, pay your bill on time, etc. And you've been on our network for this long. It can detect things like when you're traveling abroad and you're roaming, it can flag that as well. So there are certain background information that we want to make available to your favorite app users, so they can design a more seamless security or authentication experience for you, or even other things.
But what if manakaw lang yung phone ko? Simple as that.
Yeah. No, so for example, if it gets stolen, it will still rely on things like the face verification and the biometrics for it to log on to the phone. So it works hand in hand.
Okay.
It doesn't
okay.
completely replace.
Okay. It is a holiday season.
Yes.
That busy time for online shopping and digital banking.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's also peak season for scams. What kind of scams abound nowadays?
Yes.
It's always evolving,
Yes,
right?
yes. So it's still, a lot of it is still things like phishing, still, malicious actors there pretending to be sites, pretending to be your favorite bank, pretending to be a relative, etc. All of these get rich.
So lagi
schemes.
through a link.
It's always through, yeah. It's always like they're always trying to do a link. And of course now with AI, they're much more prolific at generating all of these different things. So I think given that, what we're also doing on our side is we're working, and of course, like, DICT, the president, they really focus on, in this holiday season, can we do something at a programmatic level to prevent these scams from happening? So, for example, right now, we've worked with a lot of banks so that you shouldn't expect to see a link in any message coming from a bank. Like a lot of banks typically will say that. None at all. So typically,
another thing that's dangerous now is that hackers can seem to use the network of the official network of, for example, the bank that you're dealing with, or the telco that's messaging you through the official line.
Yes.
So how do you filter?
So that's another more complicated thing, right? So again, for example, even with those things, if the banks always have rules, we have best practices out there where they will never ask for your personal information, your date of birth, etc. I think there's a lot of education. So for example, we've invested a lot in like a Be Cyber Smart program where it's a nationwide campaign that our public relations team runs around really best practices around staying safe. Because there are a lot of these actors. There are a lot of really creative ways.
So ano ba yun? Para sa mga audience natin, una-una, never click links?
Yeah, never click links, right? Unless it's from a really trusted source.
What else?
But in general, don't. Never share your personal information, right, online. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is a scam, right? So anytime where you go, hey, log on here and 50,000 pesos, right? Always, like, there's always this saying around zero trust. So unless, like, you can look the person in the eye and really verify that person's that. Like, so for example, if you get a message, call that. If it's a relative, quote unquote, asking for something, make the call. Ask them something that only they would know.
Okay.
Turn the tables a bit, right? So have your alert up.
Especially if it's digital and you're not seeing the person.
Especially if it's someone
face-to-face.
claiming to be someone and then it's a number you don't recognize. Like, why would they have that? I lost my phone, I'm borrowing someone's phone. Then call the person, try to figure out the voice.
Well, speaking of zero trust, there are, of course, concerns. There will be always concerns about privacy. and getting too much information
Yes.
from the user. So
Yes.
how are you also safeguarding against
Yes.
pervading or invading into the personal space of
so
the
there's a lot.
subscriber?
I mean, so for example, that's where data privacy comes in. So for example, there's a lot of trust that consumers, subscribers place in their mobile network provider, right? And so with that comes, what do you consent to be shared with who at what time? So we follow a lot of strict rules around that in terms of what we're able to share. So for example, when the Smart Safe gets launched, there will probably be an agreement on the app side where they'll ask you, are you okay for us to ask your network? Right? It'll be in one of the long 10-page thing that you just scroll down and you agree to.
Your terms and conditions.
Yes, exactly. But it's really to get permission so that we can we make your experience safer? Can we work
Okay.
with Smart to make your experience safer?
And how can this be experienced? How can Smart Safe be adopted?
So right now we're already working with a lot of the leading apps in the country. So by like Q1 next year, hopefully, they're beginning to build it into their next updates of their apps. Right. So in the next update of the app, it will be Smart Safe enabled in the background, and you will be able to see, cases where they don't ask for your OTP anymore, but you'll just see a message that says, we verified through the network that.
Ganun na.
Yes.
So automatic na ito.
Yes, but it will still flag that an authentication
Process is happening.
has happened. Yes.
And
with the network.
Can we also say that we don't wanna
Yes.
participate
For sure.
in it?
For sure.
Pwede rin.
For sure. You can
That's
opt
also
out
an
of it.
option.
Yes.
Oo. Would that require any more effort from us other than accepting?
I think it will be in the
the
same
terms
way
and
that right now you're given the option on the apps. Do you want to enable Face ID or authentication?
Okay.
It'll say you turn it on or off. So it's same thing here. Do you want in the background, right? Sometimes you'll see they'll ask for two-factor
Yes.
authentication.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
What I keep wondering about, because I'm starting to go into digital banking,
Yes.
and I'm afraid that one day I'd lose my phone,
Yes.
and all of my verification.
The passwords and everything are on your phone.
Yeah,
Yes.
even, di ba, parang how do you access the app itself?
Right.
When you need to access your mobile banking app through this phone, right?
Right.
It only registers one phone. What if this gets stolen? How is Smart Safe playing a role in that?
Right. So in that case, for example, during that exact instant, right, when you log on to the app, it will still ask for things like the app password or your Face ID. So if you're not there, someone stole it, they won't be able to open the phone maybe or even open the app.
But can I access my bank account from another phone?
So I get it'll depend. It'll depend bank to bank, right? For example, so I think what will happen is that you'll be asked to go to online banking, and maybe you have to report first that the phone has been stolen. You will have to. What typically happens is you will re-download that mobile banking app on your new phone, on your new replaced phone, and then you will go through a new authentication to say this is now my primary device. So in this case, right, it will be yours still same number, but it will be matched. You are now saying it is now matched to a different device. So that new pairing
Yes.
is what now in a Smart Safe app will in a Smart Safe enabled app will say this is the new pairing that represents Gretchen.
But it
Ho.
has to go through the bank, no?
It has to go.
Yung
It
mag-aayos, and you have to appear.
It will still go through the bank.
Probably.
Yes.
Oo. Kasi marami natatakot doon when it comes to digital
Yes,
banking.
yes.
Who do you talk to, right?
Yes.
Is there
still the bank? You still go. You still have to go to
make
the
the
bank.
call, or is it going to be a chat bot that's talking to you and all those
Yes,
questions?
yes. That's why, for example, I mean, the good thing
Gray
naman about
areas.
the banks is that the very first menu item you typically see is if you've lost your credit card, if you've lost something, like it's the very first thing they ask for, and they're very well trained to do that, so they can make sure that they log off all the devices that are logged onto it. It allows you to, in a way, do a fresh start and authenticate to all of your different apps.
Oo. And dito, I mean, Smart Safe, how will that help in terms of yung the specific app na yung magde-deal with the decoupling if ever
Yes,
it does
yes.
get stolen.
Exactly. Because for example, so let's take the reverse, right? So for example, for whatever reason your SIM got cloned or stolen, it got put in a different device. So SmartSafe will now detect that's probably not Gretchen's SIM, right? I need to double check, triple check with her and ask her to enter the personal question, what is your first car, were you born, etc. To really vet that, because it will detect that in the network there is a change. Why are you on a different device from what you've had for the past year and a half? It's just,
And then it will require some authentication.
and it will require some
to make
authentication.
sure which one is the
Exactly.
right device.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so SmartSafe primarily deals with location.
So it's location, it's identity. It's like your
SIM
SIM and your
behavior.
device are
SIM
paired.
behavior.
Yes. SIM behavior. If you're traveling,
Okay.
but also like location within the country. For example, there will be certain cases where you can use your mobile banking app to withdraw from an ATM. Like in certain countries, meron ng ganon. So it will be able to say, hey, this device says it's near this ATM, but on the network, why, for example, you're in a Mandaluyong ATM, but our network detects you're in Quezon City. It'll probably say, I won't allow that withdrawal. It will tell the app of your bank, right? Suspicious, do a second check or a triple check.
Is there a danger naman of this being too safe?
Yes, no. So that's exactly.
Parang hindi ka na makapasok
so that's,
sa account mo pag makakalimutin ka.
No, this one is definitely much more additive. It's that extra layer. So think about like two-factor authentication. It's that added layer of security that you get. But the primary is still you and your biometrics.
So walang
etc.
masyadong magbabago.
Wala masyado, yes.
It's just
yes. In the
para
background.
kumbaga, taking out the taking out the obvious details, which is yung sa location,
Yes.
kapag nandito ka, pero sa iba yung nag-access, yung mga ganon.
Flagging those extreme things.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How do you at PLDT Enterprise envision the future of digital security and safety? For one, you've already mentioned doing away
Yes.
without OTPs. But have you somehow mapped out the future of where everything is going to go with everything going online?
I mean, of course, we work very closely with, for example, the ICT in terms of what are nationwide programs around, not only educating the Filipinos, but also making sure that we have best practices around what type of messages are banks and your favorite players allowed to send out versus not. I think that's number one. Number two is we want to take full advantage of what's available on our network so that all of the app developers, all of the app providers, right, your favorite utilities that you use every day can't live without, they can take advantage of the best in terms of either convenience or security or authentication to make that experience much more safe, much more convenient, but also very seamless, right? Not too difficult as you mentioned. So that's all sort of happening in the background. We just want to make what's available on the network available to it so that the Filipino can benefit.
Is this an AI application?
It is, there's AI that happens in terms of, I guess, the checking of, like millions of devices, right?
And data.
Data, right?
Gathering.
Yes. But I think it's really more, the AI is really more analyzing under what events should we flag certain things, right? So for example, parang, what are the chances that if it's a different SIM to device, right? That it's likely we need to do a check. So I think that it's really analyzing that data to figure out what's a good feature to recommend versus not.
What's next for SmartSafe?
So I think with SmartSafe, I think we're starting with the silent access, where instead of an OTP, there's richer authentication in the background. But I think it's really more the location, maybe some KYC. In certain cases, we can maybe, if you allow us again, pick your billing address that you've registered and have that auto-populate the things you're applying for, like enrolling an app, enrolling a thing. But again, with you opting in. But at least, right, to that new app or that new utility or that new club you're joining, they know that, hey, this is a verified address because a postpaid bill goes to here, right? So I think there are things like that we're playing with. And again, the location stuff is
It's
there
always
as well.
a balance, right? How much do you allow
Yes.
these apps to also work in the background for the sake of security and also convenience.
Yes.
Right? It's something that the digital citizens need to figure out for themselves. But how do you make sure that the data that you keep is
So the subscriber is always in control of like their data. That's like principle number one. So for example, they have to give their consent to the app that's wanting to use the data. They're having to give consent every other time that it's sort of requested and used, and they have to update that. Like 6 months later, do you still want to continue? Right. So I think there's things like that we're building into the process as well.
building trust
Yes,
with
exactly,
the consumers.
exactly.
Okay, so for next year, what will be the first rollout?
We're working with a couple of your favorite apps, like the ones that you would expect
Hindi ko
already.
pwede magsabi.
we wala pa eh. Pero it will be one of the one of our biggest banks. It will be a couple of our biggest wallets. We're hoping to have your favorite e-travel app also potentially on board. So a couple that are in the works.
Oh, exciting, but also safe.
Yes.
Secure future, hopefully.
Yes,
Under
yes,
Smart
yes,
Safe.
yes.
Maraming salamat for your
Thank
time
you,
today.
Gretchen. Yeah, appreciate the time.
Good news before the year ends that we're finding solutions
Yes.
to the problems at hand. We have Lums Pineda, Senior Vice President and Head of the Enterprise Business Group at Smart. They have a new API suite app called Smart Safe.
Yes. Thank you.
Now moving on over to sports, with 4 days left in the 33rd Southeast Asian Games, the Philippines sits in 6th place on the medal tally. Team Philippines has so far won 142 medals, including 25 gold, 38 silver, and 79 bronze. Host country Thailand remains at the top of the leaderboard with 292 medals, followed by Indonesia with 181 and Vietnam with 157. The Philippines has set a target of 60 gold medals for this year's SEA Games. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you the right start to your morning. Let's go ahead and make the day matter. My name is Gretchen Ho. Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time.